We got spirit. Yes, we do. We got spirit. How about you?
One, two, three.
All right. It is time for Not Talking Movies with Ron and Mean Gene. And, I have a friend who has a bowling alley, and he was allowed to finally open the bowling alley. But the idea was it can only be for tournaments. And it's like, what? I don't understand that.
Leagues?
They actually said tournaments. It can only be tournaments. So yes, leagues. So my friend who owns the bowling alley, he said that he is he's selling open bowling as tournaments. So if like a family of four comes in, it's like the Bluebird tournament, and he puts a sign, tournament in play.
Of course. Why else? Why wouldn't you?
So are they like doing every other alley? Are they splitting it up, social distancing?
No. There are a set of boring protocols that he has to deal with, but I mean, no different than what you or I would, considering all of what is going on. And I get that. I understand. I mean, everybody's hopefully will play the game. I just don't see why we can't play that game in a regulated movie theater. That is ridiculous. It is now, and I'm the last to the party on saying anything out of the governor's office is ridiculous, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and really, it's gotten to the point where it hurts now because for all of the summer there were no new movies coming out, and now Tenet is out there playing in theaters. Did about 20 million and change on the national stage, 150 million in the bank for worldwide theaters, and so the whole world is watching Tenet, but not people in Lower Michigan or New York City for that matter either. So New York and Michigan, I don't get it.
What is Tenet? What is that?
It's Christopher Nolan's new movie. Who some people say it's like a sequel to Inception. It's an action picture with a whole lot of time shift and action. And if you remember Inception, it was all about dreams being that sort of time shift plot device. And now Tenet is a save the world sort of drama with a whole lot of time shift going on and some big screen and cool special effects based on what I've seen.
Okay, now I loved Inception, but I'm still foggy on what went on in that film. I'm just like, I don't know. I just really like the actor, and the story seemed cool, and they kept going into deeper sleep, and I don't know, his walls popping up all over the place, there's a spinning top. Next second, I know DiCaprio's with his wife, and now he's not upset anymore. Oh my gosh. But I liked it. I did like it. So I think I would probably like this. And I like Christopher Nolan. That's a man who brought us Dunkirk. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And that was like a great movie. I love that film. So whenever you can throw a terrific director at behind a film, there's a handful of names that are like a reason to go see it. And he's one of them. But we can't see it.
We can't see it, doggone it. And they won't even play drive-ins.
Are you saying Michigan and New York are the only two states?
Well, Los Angeles County is still closed. They've opened up Orange County now.
Okay.
I'm not sure which. I heard 46 states were allowing their theaters to open with limited capacity. So I don't know who the other ones are besides Michigan and New York. Maybe not Massachusetts, but Maine, I think, might be another one. Anyway, it's our turn. We're due to go see a movie here in Lower Michigan.
Wow. Okay.
I agree.
That is quite a thing. And now I understand. And what about with high school football? They have said, okay, yeah, now the high school kids can go play football, but the college football, not a thing. And I'm my head scratching on that. If you're going to let high school kids play football, why wouldn't you let college kids play football?
Well, that was a Big Ten decision about Michigan and Michigan State, and the leagues have made those determinations around the country, not necessarily the states, although the states would have something to say about fans in the stands, which is same way with pros. Like the Lions are going to play without any fans in the stands, but they're going to be fans in the stands in other states where pro football is being played. And so it's going to be up to the leagues. And of course, the Big Ten's had some pressure from our current president, and whether or not they start up later because some of these other leagues are able to do it. I watched the BYU Navy game the other day, and I thought it was interesting that
Yes.
the officials all had masks on. How do you blow your whistle through a mask?
Oh,
They have
God.
a little electronic whistles. They push the button down. It makes the whistle sound.
Oh, yeah, that's going to stay after this ends. They're going to use that forever.
Hilarious.
I think we need to look no further. This is why we should have packed stadiums in college football. We need to look no further than 450,000 motorcyclists were in Sturgis, South Dakota, and only 266 got sick. It's remarkably low, and those hicks were there like no masks, elbow to elbow, listening to terrible rock music, and it wasn't bad at all. So I don't know. I mean, I think that
Wait a minute, 266,000 people got sick as
266.
Period.
That's it.
200.
266.
Oh, I saw a different story then with more zeros in it. I swear I did. Wow. I'll have to look that one up.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe
check
I saw
you.
you had one death. One guy did die. But I was looking at statistics that were remarkably low. So, all right. We'll hold. Maybe I got that wrong.
We'll fact check that one.
I'm going to do it too. We can all
there
fact
you
check.
There
We
we
can
go.
all fact check. Sturgis
There's
sick.
COVID.
Sturgis sick. South Dakota governor criticized the study suggesting that Sturgis bike rally led to 260,000 COVID-19 cases.
Oh, okay.
That's maybe what you're getting at. That study 2 hours ago, and I didn't even know that there had been a report.
Add some zeros there. That's there. Yeah, 500,000 people
Maybe.
and led to 500,000 people getting sick as a result of all those people showing up for that motorcycle thing.
All right, I would have to dive into that more to see more about that study. But I mean, as of last week, it was 266 people have it. So that's really remarkable. How now you have absolutely opposite stories. Well, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Fake news.
Well, yeah, it's funny too because the entire state only has 15,000 cases. So
Well, I know, but people came from all over the
No, I
place and then
understand
went
that,
back.
but I'm saying
Yeah, I
there was
think
a-
that's
Something's-
what I'm saying.
something's
weekend
not
event,
right.
And it was,
I think who knows? This might be just
I don't
Hey,
think
it's a-
there's going to be any sporting event or any concert or anything besides a Trump rally where people are going to be elbow to elbow without face masks, watching live sports or live concerts. I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
right.
not large numbers. There are
Right.
events they'll have
yeah,
limited numbers.
There definitely have been a few small things, but Now moving on movie news, I saw that this Mulan opened up, and I saw that there was some controversy because at the end of it they were like thanking some of the folks in Hong Kong, and then the chick who was the lead, she made some crack about supporting the oppressive government associated with that whole thing at the end of the film. Did you hear anything about this, Ron?
I missed part of what you said. Your audio
Yeah,
changed
your
on me
audio's
here,
dropped,
Gene.
Eric.
What's that?
Your audio's gone. It's way
is.
down.
I can barely hear you now. All of a sudden,
Yeah, is that any better?
No.
you're
I
louder
muted.
again, but it just changed like while you were in mid-sentence there.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was me. I'm looking around thinking I hit something wrong. No.
I thought I had
Okay.
wax in my headphones, but
I'm sorry. I
were
don't
you
know.
talking about Milan?
Yeah. What's going on with that? There was some type of drama.
Yeah. And I saw John Oliver did a story on this minority group in China, and I'll never be able to pronounce it. And it's spelled totally different than what it looks as it's spelled, but they gave a credit, or in the end credits, they gave thanks to this province in China where they essentially have put these people in camps and held them prisoner and forced them into slave labor. And so the backlash is that the filmmakers chose to give credit to this area in China where they're effectively keeping political prisoners against their will, and so again, there's a minority group in China that is being repressed and held prisoner. And by the way, thanks for allowing us to use your name on the credits or your area for filmmaking, whatever it was.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. It was like when they say special thanks to the so and so for, you know, one of those deals.
yeah. So you got deep into the credits, and that caused some consternation and a backlash, which is leading to this headlines about boycotting Mulan because
Damn
they
it.
gave credit to these. Yeah.
Okay.
How many people would have even known it was there had they not said anything?
Yeah, exactly. But
mean,
that's why, that's why
like
people
this-
are protesting these days. You know that, Gene. They're bringing attention to these things that most people just miss completely. And if you know nothing about it,
Yeah, I can see that. Then if there's a cause and they've been screaming and nobody's listening, and now they're listening because of that, so be it. If that actually is happening over there, so.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't they just say that they were going to do it? And then we're gonna feature it prominently, how thankful we are in the film, and then just lie and don't do it. I mean, what the hell? Who cares? What are they gonna do? Come here to the US and give us a China ticket? I mean, come on. What's
well, yeah. How do you deal with this Chinese government and politics? I mean, boy, that talk about a slippery slope and a complicated issue, and it's part of our presidential campaigns and debates about who is or isn't doing what or whatever to China. I mean, good gravy.
So
Okay.
they don't really care if people go see it. They just want the word out. Because, I mean, boycotting the movie, that is not going to help in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, look back on John Oliver's recent report on this, what's going on in this area of China. And if you go back to YouTube and look a couple of weeks ago, he had a very interesting report. I mean, it's crazy what's going on.
I believe it.
It's true.
I believe it. I mean, I have followed to some degree some of the oppression that has happened to people in China, dating back decades. If you go back to the revolution that was the uprising that took place with the students in and around Tiananmen Square. Now, what was reported as, just some minor clashes with police was not at all what it was. It was horrible. It was some of the worst things that have ever happened as the Chinese military opened fire and killed hundreds of young people. But that was suppressed, and it was only footage that was snuck out of the country to be made into a documentary that ever revealed way after the fact just how terrible that was back then. So it doesn't surprise me at all. Those are maniacs that live there, and we're dealing with them on a regular basis.
When was the last time you looked at something that didn't say "Made in China" on it? It's just crazy how much stuff we import from them. But,
my gosh.
Complicated issue.
Yes. Okay. So what else is burning on everybody's brain right now? Is there anything else that
I wanted to hear, well, number one, Eric, I need to get a kidney update. It's been a few weeks for us. And then Gene was going to tell us Alabama stories, but I don't know that he's got anything quite salacious. But how's it going with the kidney thing?
It is still on track, and they inform me on a need-to-know basis as to what is happening. As I hear from different people at different times. I got a phone call yesterday from a dietitian who was told to call me. And I think this is a good sign, because the kidney specialist, known as a nephrologist, she did have a couple of things that she wanted to make sure that I was up to speed on about continuing for me post-kidney. I think this is a good sign because they want to make sure that I have in check my eating habits so that I am eating appropriately to minimize my risk of diabetes and reduce my bad cholesterol. And to me, they wouldn't have gone this particular route of informing me about something so particular had they not really thought that I was a viable candidate to get this removed. I mean, if I was a shot in the dark and didn't really have any chance of, because I wasn't healthy enough, they wouldn't pursue giving me specific instructions of what I need to do to make sure that I eat in a healthy level for a guy with one kidney. Most important thing is avoid diabetes. And my A1C, which is a certain marker over a 3-month period of your kidney level, of your sugar level, Mine is not pre-diabetic, not diabetic, but it's higher than like a normal person's.
Oh.
So my body might be trying to give me diabetes because it does run in my family, but because of how I've lived up to this point, I don't have it. They want to make sure I don't get it. So the dietitian is talking about, she's drilling me with questions about how I eat, and what my philosophy is about eating and what my habits are. So I had committed to really focusing on having a specific type of diet to lower the A1C, lower my LDL for weeks now. So with all that information that I've gained on my own, I'm telling her what my plan is. And she's like, well, it sounds like you've got a handle on it. And I go, well, yeah, I was kind of given a wake-up call by the nephrologist by those two numbers. LDL at 144 is too high. A1C is slightly elevated. If I do get a kidney taken out, those can't be factored in. I have to reduce my risk, because when you only got one kidney, you don't want to be messing around with what could impair that function. So yeah, I made that very clear to her, and they seemed satisfied with. She seemed satisfied with my answers. So, and then like I said before, all these people get together very soon, probably in a week or two, and they will discuss your old pal Eric over a Zoom call and to say thumbs up, thumbs down. What do we do with this guy?
Oh, it's getting close.
Yeah, I think I'll have an answer in a couple of weeks.
Congratulations.
Oh, I hope it goes well. So hold the congratulations till we find out for sure. But I want to almost rush the process, but I know I can't. So I just keep my mouth shut and wait for them to call me. It's kind of like waiting for a job, except whenever I am waiting for a job, they just don't call. They just ghost you. They just ghost you. And have you ever had that happen? You apply for a job and they're all like, well, Ron, you had one job, so I don't know if it
no,
applies.
It's not. Yeah, it doesn't work.
But, I can't tell you how many times, especially in radio, you apply for a job and then they're like, you got all what we're looking for. You're
That's all you hear.
Remember Kim Carson? I was supposed to get that job with Kim Carson down in Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
That kook was sitting there. Not Kim. The kook is like, you're great. You're gonna fit in great around here. Kim's gonna love you. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah. Never heard from him again.
I know that has happened to my son as well, with a job that he was hoping to land, as he's now a college graduate with his master's degree, shopping for Shipt at the Meijer stores. But
yeah.
Let me give the other side of this too, because I've recently been in the hiring process. I have to hire a guy for our company, and in the description I laid out exactly what I needed. This is what you have to have. This is the experience you need. This is what we're looking for. And I'm telling you, I've got stuff from people that have they're nowhere near any of it. They have none of the experience. They've never worked in the industry. I don't answer those back. I don't take the time to say, I'm sorry. I mean, if you're going to apply for a job, at least have just an inkling of what is being asked.
No, I agree. If they write in and try to apply either online or via snail mail, yes, you don't have to respond to them in any way, shape, or form. If the dialogue starts,
I'm using one of the hiring service. It's Indeed. I don't know if I could drop that name. So I'm using Indeed. So I laid out specifically what I was looking for. And this one guy sent in his resume. He's like a greeter at Walmart. He's never done any production work or any video work or any of that stuff. But he's applying for the job. And there's a guy who was a automotive engineer. Beautiful resume, but it was all automotive, all engineering, nothing to do with television, nothing to do.
No, yeah, you don't know them anything.
I don't answer those.
Nope. It's my only gripe is when you get to the next step where they call you. They've got an interest. I would have loved I would prefer it to be a law where they have to call you and just say, go to hell. That's all I want. I just want closure. So I can say, well, thank God you called. I'm glad you called it, because I didn't want to think for a second that I had a shot at this and then be wondering, it's turmoil.
Especially if he built you up like he did. I mean, it sounded like you were ready to start tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. It is, it's just been one thing after another. I'm lucky I had a one good experience in radio, and that was my time when I was working with Freeburn Hot Wings, because the show caught fire and everybody listened to it. So as soon as you have that type of oomph behind you, then radio turns into a great industry.
Mhm.
But, since the outside of that, leading up to that and post that, it's just been horrible. It's
Right.
just a miserable time from beginning to end.
Well, it's the
Well,
industry itself. It's not you.
yeah, isn't that where all these big conglomerate groups like iHeart and Cumulus are all dealing with uh, dwindling revenue
Yeah,
and
massive,
all of these,
massive.
and then they just cut staff because it's about the only thing they can do, and
Yep.
that's a vicious cycle, man.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know how they get out of that nosedive, because they're now left with, they don't actually have any personnel to put quality material that is worth listening to on the radio. I mean, that's not easy to do.
Mhm.
Back when we all worked in radio, I mean, more for Gene, but Ron is aware of how it works. You had the minor leagues, which was the overnights. You put an overnight human being on there. The
Mhm.
program director would say, yeah, keep me on the air. Don't lose a
Just don't fall
license.
asleep.
Have a little fun. You're working on it. And you put some 21. That's what I did. And I would experiment all the time. And occasionally, if I got a little bit out of line, my boss would hotline me and say, all right, no more farting on the microphone or something like that. Yeah, and now they don't have that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a disaster.
Kevin Matthews was another one of those guys. He used to work the overnights, and turned into a career. And yeah, you know what? All I can say is, just like so many other businesses dealing with what has happened over the last 5 or 6 months, there has to be a bottom here when it starts to turn around a little bit. Like, advertisers will be back, okay? And it's just a question of, can you survive until that you turn the corner on the J curve, if you will, and come back up toward somewhat normal revenue sources?
Yeah,
Well,
it's very, very tricky.
Here, and again, this is just speculation on my part, but radio is going to get to a point where it is going to be so streamlined, because they're going to get rid of everybody, do just a whole ton of syndication or whatever they have to do to make it the cheapest possible that they can. Things are going to turn around. The money's going to start coming in. They're going to leave it that way because their profits are going to be huge. So the quality of radio is not going to get better, but the money part is definitely going to get better.
Yeah, they're probably going to dumb down the content.
Exactly. If they're making huge amounts of money, now that all the advertisers are coming back, the money's starting to roll in, and they've been doing this with less than quality content. Why
Right.
spend the money,
Right.
especially the big corporations? Why spend the money to bring local people back in? Just keep doing what you're doing.
But it's amazing to me that they can assume that is going to happen, or even have the nerve to charge that, because, if a station has a 25 share 20 years ago, they can still have a 25 share now. But the problem is the pie is 80% less. If you had 100,000 people that had potential to be listening to the radio 25 years ago, and now that pie is 20%, or I'm sorry, is only like 20,000 of that. I mean, that's because you have so many more different choices that people are getting their content from.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you still have the 25 share, but the overall number of people listening is dramatically less, because they only listen to radio in their car.
Yeah. Well,
There you go. We had our first casualty in Michigan, as far as I know, of theaters closing for good. The operators of the Fremont cinemas, as well as the Harbor theaters in Muskegon, actually they took over the Lokes Plaza theater there.
Okay.
Anyway, they just decided they're folding up. They will not reopen the Fremont cinemas or the Harbor theaters in Muskegon, and they were on a shoestring for a long time. But I think a lot of those smaller operators who we've heard about, restaurants that way, and they just can't operate under the limited capacity or not being open at all in the case of theaters.
Dang it! Yep, that is rough. All right. Anything else, Gene? You wanted to talk anything about happening on the MMA front?
Back at it again. We were in Alabama last weekend, and I mean, it was kind of funny. And this goes back to what we were talking about, the sports. what we're doing now is we're holding these in much smaller venues now. We used to do them where there'd be 2,000 or 3,000 people in there. Obviously, you can't do that now. City or the state of Alabama opened things up, and they allowed 150 people to come in to this particular venue, which was much smaller. Everybody they weren't tested. They did the temperature thing as they walked through the door. But they kept all the people on one side. We were all on the other side. The fighters were all tested the day before. We were all tested the day before. I mean, actual tests. Two of the fighters.
Back in your nose, you mean?
No, they have these new ones there, the blood tests. They do a prick of the finger. Then they drop it
Oh, yeah. I know you love prick.
minutes. Yeah. Thank you.
Giving
the
blood.
little prick said I was no. So there. So, I mean, it worked out well. We had just a ton of pay-per-view. That's where we're kind of going with all this now until they loosen things up a bit. But,
so, what is the entity known as? What type of? I mean, if people wanted to look it up and see on their own what this was, what is it known as?
Oh, the company name is the letter B, number 2, B2 Digital. And basically what we're doing is we've created a minor league for the Bellator and the UFC. So we're bringing all of these like lower fighters together, training them, creating great matches so that these guys can move up into the big time.
Okay, so you're the entity that's doing the production, the actual entertainment is working with the fighters themselves?
No, we own well, yeah. I mean, we train the fighters. Yeah, we have gyms. We have gyms that we own where the fighters go and they train.
Okay,
trainers
so it's your own product. It's the company's own product, and then you're in charge of making sure that the show goes on so people can watch it.
Yeah, I do the television end or the live streaming end of it.
That is pretty freaking sweet. So you get a lot of these local dudes. And what part of Alabama are you in again?
We were in Tuscaloosa this time. We've been in Montgomery. We've been in Birmingham. We were in Tuscaloosa this time. We got Chicago and Dubuque, Iowa coming up. But
okay, so these guys are no joke. Yes, it's a smaller organization, but these guys, I mean, they're following all the same rules that the guys in the big leagues follow.
Well, what we've done is we have organizations we purchased in Kentucky, Alabama, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, and they're like these fight groups. We purchased them, and now we've revamped them and organized them. You get the fighters that are in that group training well, building at least the ones that are really, really good that have potential. So then we're creating this pool of really, really good fighters to move up to the next level. Is what we're doing.
Where do you go for the pay-per-view? Where can you buy it?
To B2. You go to B2 Digital and there's.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm excited for that because that's a viable live sports thing. We've got NFL football back this week, Thursday night game if it starts, and full schedule for the weekend. I've been watching NBA basketball live every single night. Yeah, whatever, Gene.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Hockey
is cool. Baseball.
We're a couple weeks away from baseball playoffs, and what the Tigers might be.
I've been watching that. I've been watching that. They were doing terrific. A week and a half ago, they were the hottest team in baseball. They
lost.
Yeah, they had a terrible time, and now they're back to last 10. They're 5-5. But I like watching the Tigers. I like watching the Tigers.
Listen, we went like 5 months without any live sports, and now we're just
all over the place.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Did you see this? Sorry, go ahead.
One comment about the NBA. This is so Disney-esque when they've got those monitors in the stands with the people that are like, it's just. If I were on the court playing, that would bug the hell out of me.
It's so weird.
It
is so weird.
They're just looping.
It's a good thing Dennis Rodman isn't playing in this era. He would try to have sex with one of those fans.
He'd be throwing stuff at him, right? Ron Artest.
Oh no!
Up into the monitors.
Rodman's humping that monitor. Oh no!
That's TV. I'd watch that.
All right, I'm going to leave it right there. That's it. I'm done with you.
All right. We'll talk next week, I hope, or soon.
I hope so, yeah. If Gene's not jet setting to Alabama again, but hopefully. All right.
All right. Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye. Bye.